It's no secret that Princess cruise ships are getting bigger and bigger. Their newest, Sun Princess, will launch in 2024, and with a guest capacity of more than 4,000, she will be the biggest Princess ship ever. With that in mind, we bucked the trend, turned back the clock and booked a 28-night cruise on the second oldest and Princess Cruises' smallest ship, the sub-2,000 guest Coral Princess. So, at roughly half the size of Sun Princess in terms of passenger numbers and gross tonnage, and over 20 years old, would the Coral Princess be every inch a Princess ship in style and facilities? Let's show you around and see whether you prefer this little princess to her plus-size sisters. Let's go! In 2002 and 2003, Princess launched two Panamax-class ships, the Coral Princess and the Island Princess. Panamax-class ships were built narrow enough in width for them to transit through the Panama Canal at the time. There are also a few design quirks around this ship that make it interesting and unique, but not all of these features make sense. You'll see what I mean when we take you around. We're starting this tour on Deck 5 and the beautiful Atrium. As you can see, it's got all the Princess design touches, colour schemes and hallmarks that make it a distilled version of the Atrium seen in the much larger Royal-class ships like Sky Princess and Discovery Princess. It's unusual for a ship this small to have an Atrium that spans 4 decks like this one, which towers from Deck 5 right up to Deck 8. At the bottom here you'll find the usual guest services desk, the future cruise desk and the shore excursions desk. They even replaced all the furniture here while we were on our cruise. It looks lovely, don't you think? Also here is the Good Spirits Bar, a popular venue featured in many other Princess ships and seen here for the very first time with completely new furnishings. On Deck 5 you'll also find the first of 2 main dining rooms, this one called the Bordeaux Dining Room. The Bordeaux Dining Room also has an area exclusively for club class dining, a special reserved section in the main dining room for suite guests and selected mini-suite guests with a dedicated waiting team and an exclusive Daily Chef special menu item. You'll see more of this in detail as part of our Suite Class Experience video. We'll leave a link at the end. We go to Deck 6 now, and immediately above Bordeaux is the Provence Dining Room, the second main dining room. It's very similar in style to Bordeaux. Just a bit back from this is the Atrium, and wrapped around it on this deck are the shops Meridian Bay, Calypso Cove and Essence. Walking through to the aft of the ship, on Deck 6 you'll find the casino and the International Cafe. Adjacent to the Princess Casino are 13 additional ocean view cabins which were put in at the expense of the then larger casino back in 2016. We stayed in one of these and you can see why these rooms are so special in our review. We definitely recommend a watch as it may change the way you think about ocean view cabins. Okay, as we head further back we'll encounter the photo shop where you can peruse the multiple photos that the onboard photographers will take of you during your voyage. And next to that is the Explorer's Lounge, the non-stop entertainment venue. Game shows, quizzes, music trivia, late-night sets, televised sports events, they're all here. It's also the meeting point for shore excursions and functions as the Elite Lounge most days from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. for Platinum and Elite guests. More about that in our Suite Class Experience. Right at the back of the ship is the Universe Lounge, a venue hosting game shows, bingo, late-night comedy and live music amongst other things. It also hosts one of the 3 fabulous production shows designed especially for this lounge. It's interesting to note that the Universe Lounge on Coral's sister ship Island Princess was removed during a refit and replaced with a fitness centre and 54 additional cabins, which we think is very sad as this lounge is one of the best designed entertainment venues on the ship and we love it. The Universe Lounge is 2 decks high and the upper lounge is on Deck 7 and gives great views over the stage. Moving towards the front of the ship on Deck 7, you'll encounter the 2 premium dining venues, the first of which is Bayou Cafe and Steakhouse. Cafe area we felt was very underused during our 28 nights on board and felt dark and less welcoming compared to the other bars on the ship. The restaurant part of the Bayou has a very similar menu as the Crown Grill, which is the name of the steakhouses on the other Princess ships, made after these Panamax sisters. Again, we are surprised that these venues were not refreshed as Crown Grills during their refits. That would have made more sense. In our opinion, of course. Next along here is a restaurant that certainly needs no introduction, the ever-popular Sabatini's Italian. The food is exceptional, and like Bayou Steakhouse, the staff here are fabulous. There's no wonder Sabatini's is featured on every ship, including the brand new Sphere-class ship, Sun Princess. Immediately in front of Sabatini's is the Fine Art Gallery. If you fancy adding some nuptials to your list of things you experienced on a cruise, there's a wedding chapel. After the ceremony, it's a short walk to the Atrium again. Why not celebrate tying the knot in Crooners, our favourite bar which quite literally features a crooner serving some evening cheese with your wine. Love it. To the right is the Churchill Lounge, which normally is used as a smoking room, but for these down under voyages you cannot smoke in here, as it's illegal to smoke indoors in Australian territorial waters. Take another look at the Atrium. We think it's the most elegant atrium on any of the Princess fleet. What do you think? Are the bigger ones prettier? More elegant? Leave us a comment below. Forward of the Atrium is the Wheelhouse Bar, a firm Princess favourite featuring live music from the ship's bands and a selection of solo artists and duos. In front of the Wheelhouse Bar is the Princess Theatre, which, although is over 2 decks, there's only a single tier of raked seating, giving it the illusion of being a lot bigger than it really is. The seats also have these handy little pull-out tables for your drinks as you watch the shows. Deck 7 is also home to one of our favourite spaces on board any ship, a fully wraparound promenade deck. These are harder and harder to find on newer ships because for some unfathomable reason, they don't include them anymore, which is a huge shame. There's sheltered space here to walk, jog, peruse the gorgeous sea views, or simply relax on one of the numerous wooden steamer chairs that line the widest parts of the promenade. Do you like a promenade deck? Please tell us your thoughts. While we're outside, the Coral Princess also holds a few more little design secrets that most on board will not realise they are there to enjoy. And the ones we can reveal now are these gorgeous little aft terraces, spanning from Deck 8 to Deck 11. Next time you're on the ship, go and check them out. But don't tell anyone I told you, okay? Deck 8 is mostly staterooms except for the uppermost tier of the atrium, which at one end houses the internet cafe on both sides, and the other end has 2 very generous sized rooms, the library and the card room. Given the size of the ship, this extra tier of public venues is unusual and gives the atrium a grandeur and space well beyond its guest capacity. Decks 9 through 12 are all cabins, staterooms and suites, except on Deck 12. Princess have squeezed in the children's areas into the aft of the ship in the familiar guise of Camp Discovery. Out the back of Deck 12 is where the 3-tiered sanctuary begins and features the wake-facing sanctuary pool. The sanctuary is unusual on Coral Princess as it's at the rear of the ship, and all the others, apart from Island Princess, are at the front of the ship, and it's spread over 3 decks, 12, 14 and 15. We thought this was a bit odd to begin with, but having booked it for the entire cruise, we soon settled in, and actually it became our favourite sanctuary because you get these fabulous unobstructed wake views, whereas the sanctuary on the Royal class ships, for instance, have front-facing views, but through glass-protected barriers. The tiers of seating made it seem smaller and more intimate too. Also, we managed to bag one of these 2 cabanas on the ship, which was incredible and felt very special indeed. There is no Deck 13 because, superstitions, etc., so we head directly to Deck 14, the Lido deck. This is where all the action happens in the open air, but before we go outside, we'll show you the buffet restaurant, Horizon Court, and its Italian cafe area at the back called Amuletto. Well, it's not at the back, it's at the front. And this venue is quite unusual. Why is it unusual? Well, unlike most buffets, this one is situated at the very front of the ship, This is uncommon not only on a Princess ship, but also on most other cruise lines too. Although this is a well-designed area, we did find a couple of problems with this design. Firstly, being at the front denies there being a nice lounge or something which can take full advantage of the ship's forward view. Putting a few buffet tables in front of these massive and beautiful panoramic windows seems such a waste, and there's no other area on the ship that has such a privileged position, and that's a shame. Most cruise ships of a similar size make much more of this, as you can see here, for example, on the similar size ship Holland America Line's Nordam. Secondly, being right at the front makes it susceptible to excessive movement if the ship is in rough seas or long swells. This could make it an uncomfortable environment to eat or drink. Again, just our opinion, of course. Moving towards midships, we go outside and we find the Lido Bar and the Princess Pizzeria, and these face the Lido Pool, the main pool on the ship. This pool area also features a dance floor and a bandstand for those lively sail-away parties when the weather is good. Also, this massive screen, which is a common feature to all Princess ships, shows everything from live sports to concerts to early morning Tai Chi and the fabulous movies under the stars, which we absolutely love. Moving further back, we go inside again to the Lotus Pool, a fully indoor solarium area, which has these nice Eastern touches fused with tiki-style straw canopies. It's a 2-story solarium, and we found this area very pleasant indeed, even if the weather outside is not so. Also inside the Lotus Pool area is this secret villain of the expanding waistline, the ice cream bar, which serves complimentary soft ice cream all day, as well as these exceptionally naughty sundaes, which, although shown here as an extra charge, 1 per person per day is included in the premium drinks package. Don't trust these smiling ladies. Nothing fits me anymore. As we pause here, there's something interesting to note. Looking up through the glass ceiling of the Lotus Pool, beside the funnels, you'll see these 2 peculiar structures that look like jet engines. You'll also see them featured on the Island Princess, Sapphire Princess and Diamond Princess. So what are they and what do they do? Well, we can reveal that they don't do anything at all. The 4 ships mentioned have additional gas turbine engines fitted, which was part of the engineering trend of the time. By being a kind of hybrid system, emissions, engine vibration and other benefits are enjoyed over using standard diesel alone, especially within certain ports which forbid the use of diesel engines because of the pollution. When built, the design aesthetic of these ships included these giant, decorative but completely non-functional turbines to emphasize the fact they were hybrid, kind of like having fancy alloy wheels on your car to emphasize its sportiness. Pointless then? Yes. A bit of an odd design decision? Also, yes. Walk under these perfidious, pointless and perfectly preventable power plants, you'll find the Lotus Spa, which includes one of the largest salons I've seen for the size of a ship, and a thermal suite, full of hot stone beds and therapeutic steam rooms available for an extra charge. Across the hall from the Lotus Spa is the generously sized fitness centre, split into 2 halves, one a large studio for classes like spin bikes and TRX, and the other a very well-equipped gym. There's also doors out the back of both that leads to the sanctuary. In fact, this is the main entrance to the sanctuary, which seems a little odd, having to walk through the gym to get to it, when there is gates either side on both decks outside. Up to deck 15, called the sun deck for good reason, for here there is plenty of space to lay under it. Also up here is the bar and grill, where they sell some delicious burgers, dogs, and my favourite, the chicken street tacos, which I'll admit to having far more often than I should have. There's also a large professional photo studio up here called Platinum Studio, and a large indoor area called Princess Links on the deck plan, but as you can see, I have no way of knowing what that is. Sorry. Finally, we come to deck 16, the topmost deck, which is split into 2 halves. At the front is the splash pool, and wrapped around it a large sun terrace. At the rear, behind the funnel, is the games area, incorporating centre court, the enclosed multi-use sports court. And there we have it. Princess Cruises' smallest ship, and in our opinion, its most elegant. Apart from a few design oddities, we think she's an absolute little gem, and if you want to compare her with one of her larger, more modern sisters, here's a video showing you one for comparison. Enjoy, and thank you for watching.